Copper down 11 cents per pound. Hi, Carol from ScrapMonster here with your daily scrap metal market briefing for March 4th, 2026, covering the prior day close. On the COMEX copper screen, copper is shown around $5.86 per pound. On the LME, 3-month copper was $12,865 per metric ton on March 3rd, 2026. And on the ScrapMonster Price Index, copper was broadly lower. The key headline move: number 1, copper wire and tubing; number 2, copper wire and tubing, bare bright; and number 3, light copper, all down by 11 cents per pound. The largest daily move in the report. Additional softness: radiators down by 4 cents per pound, several insulator recovery grades down by 2 cents per pound, with a handful of categories flat. Today reads like a mix of macro plus positioning plus inventories. A stronger dollar and profit-taking hit the broader metals tape on March 3rd, with copper down roughly in that same risk-off bucket. Separately, exchange inventories builds have been a live narrative lately, including a Reuters note that U.S. exchange copper inventories had been racing into 2026, a headwind when the market is looking for a reason to fade rallies. When the benchmark tape softens and the index prints wide declines like 11 cents, yards typically see buyers get more selective on upgrades. If you're moving copper units this week, speed and spec discipline matter more than trying to call the bottom. Moving on to aluminum. The LME 3-month aluminum was $3,260.50 per metric ton on March 3rd, 2026. On the ScrapMonster Price Index, aluminum was mostly flat. The only reported change was EC aluminum wire, up by 1 cent per pound. Most other grades were unchanged. Even with scrap flat day over day, the broader aluminum market is watching Middle East supply chain risks tied to the Strait of Hormuz and regional production exposures. That's not a today change because claim for scrap, just a context risk that can show up quickly in premiums and sentiment. Brass usually follows the copper tape, with zinc as the other major input. On March 3rd, LME month zinc was $3,302 per metric ton. Brass and bronze was lower across common grades: 70, 30, 80, 20, 85, 15. Brass radiators, red brass, red borings, and yellow brass all down 3 cents per pound. Brass radiator iron was down by 1 cent per pound. Brass radiator ends flat. This is a copper-led reset. If your brass intake is heavy this week, expect buyers to push harder on sorting and contamination because the EC bid disappears when copper steps down. Moving on to stainless steel. Stainless steel pricing is often benchmarked against nickel. LME 3-month nickel was $17,130 per metric ton on March 3rd, 2026. On the ScrapMonster Price Index, stainless edged lower. Most common grades down 1 cent per pound, from 201 to 316 solids. 310 down 2 cents per pound, 330 down by 3 cents per pound. This is a grind lower print, not a panic move. The practical takeaway is to watch whether nickel stabilizes, because stainless scrap tends to lag sharp benchmark turns. Steel scrap was flat across the board in the report. Bundle busheling, HMS number 1, and 80/20 shred structural and sheet metal. On March 3rd, the ScrapMonster Price Index finished mostly lower, led by copper down as much as 11 cents per pound, while EC aluminum wire ticked up by 1 cent per pound and steel stayed flat. That's your daily scrap metal market briefing based on prior day close and the ScrapMonster Price Index moves. For full great matrix and tools, head over to scrapmonster.com. Thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow for today's prices.